we'll move first the connection and then after that, functionality. Okay, so if you're in command, let me move my little thumbnail over here. Okay. So how you connect is you're in settings. So you hit your little profile icon to go down to settings. And then there should be a spot for DocuSign. You should see it somewhere. If you haven't connected it, it's probably under the digital signature section.
Connect account.
Yes. It's going to ask you what you want your name to be and your email. I recommend just leaving it your KW email. That way it's just a little bit easier. And then it should send an email to you to verify your account. Whatever. I've kind of already done that here. Yeah, where's the oh, somewhere else there. Hey, Jason. I don't know if you can hear me. Okay, anyways. So it'll kind of be, you know, as soon as you verify everything in your email and click authorize, you would come here and then select authorize as well, and it should connect. Is yours connected? DocuSign again? Probably not. Okay. So yes, we're to connect DocuSign and Command, we're gonna go settings, and then by DocuSign, you should see a connect account. So what are you doing? You're gonna go to settings and Command. Yeah, I did it for my email. Okay. Yeah, so once you hit connect account and you confirm, and it'll send you the email, so you're gonna choose your password and click it like that you accept the agreement, and then you should be able to click authorize within command to authorize that connection. So I'm going to kind of hop into opportunities so that we can see how to start the transaction, go through it in DocuSign, kind of autofill, all that whole functionality, through to putting it back into command to then do clean sheet in command. Okie dokie. So very first thing you have to make sure that you do is your contact has to be in command. So if you have a transaction going, it's going to force you to put that contact in here. So I'm just going to create an opportunity, and I'm going to do a buyer. I'm going to do my sister. I'm going to select my commission rate. All of that can be changed at the end if anything changes. I'm just going to hit create. So right in here, we have some details. Now, your client's name and email address will automatically pull into DocuSign from command when you start that opportunity. So you do not have to add them into DocuSign like you normally do in Dotloop. You don't have to add them as a person, they automatically are added. Okay, so we're going to jump over to the Documents tab. There's nothing under buyer profile that pertains to the transaction. All right, so since I've chosen a residential buyer, it automatically chooses my checklist. So we have our consultation stage, under contract, and closed. So these are just items in a checklist. You're just fulfilling the items in the checklist. Alrighty, so once I hit start a transaction right up here, it's going to take me right over to DocuSign. Whoops, if I would actually type. Writing, it's going to go ahead and create that room for me. So if you log directly into DocuSign and try to create a room, it does not sync to command. So it has to be initiated through the opportunity in command first for it to be able to automatically generate within DocuSign. So in order to make autofill on documents happen, you would need to fill out as much of this detail part of the room as possible. So address, price, you know, all that type of information, you know, earnest money, all that good stuff. If you fill it out in here, it will auto-populate within your forms. Certain fields do not auto-populate, like your parcel ID, you know, legal description type boxes. You'll still have to copy and paste that from CRS over into the field for the listing agreement, but a good chunk of the other information will autofill if you fill it out in the details section.
So it won't pull it on.
No, Instinet is the only platform that pulls directly from MLS because they have a direct agreement with TAR. All right, so once you fill out this section, if we jump over to the Documents tab, this is where you can add any documents that you will need for the transaction. And this is also where you edit these documents. So we're going to click Add Document, and I'm going to go down to DocuSign Forms. That way I can edit them and send them electronically. Now, if you get like an offer back that you need to make changes to, you know, strike through, all that kind of stuff, you would upload those into this screen as well. So you can download it from your email, upload it right here into this screen, and then you can edit that document. So we're going to click, I'm going to add the forms from DocuSign, and I'm going to choose a group. So the library, what it is it's just kind of a list of every document we have. Just kind of the mass document holder. So I want to add from a group. So these are buyer.
When I click on that ad,
Hit no.
okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah. That only pops up once, so just hit no. So once I choose my template, because that's what these are within the groups. So I have, you know, my residential new construction and land buyer template, my land residential FSBO new construction listing, and then we have, you know, our commercial docs for people who do commercial. So I'm just going to choose residential buyer, and then these are kind of forms that I've laid into the checklist, or, you know, the little template, kind of how Dotloop auto put forms in there when you selected a template. It's kind of the same way. You just get to pick and choose which ones you want to use.
Can you custom create your own also?
Yeah, like a certain team want to have like specific documents that they use for transactions. You can create that template within your account, and you can share those documents with the people on your team, and they would add those in from a template. Right, so I'm going to add the RECAD, the buyer's agency agreement, and you could add, you know, the contract, all that good stuff, as many documents as you need. You can add those in there. So I'm just going to click Add. All right, so I have 2 forms in here. You cannot edit the order in which these forms come in. They just kind of come in. I don't know necessarily the rhyme or reason as to how they pick the order in which they come in. I would like to say alphabetically, but I don't know that for sure. But you'll see all of your forms here in a line. If you open the form, this is where you make the edits. So if you need to type in like a date range or, fill out your contract, you would edit it within the document tab that we're currently in. So it already recognized that Sydney was my buyer, so it pulled her name in, pulled my name in. I am gonna have to choose this date range, as you would normally do on this document. And with this document, there's just nothing else really to put on here. These fields are locked in this view, but they are editable in the envelope view. So we'll get there in just a second. So we'll just say that this was this previous Friday to there. Good. If you needed to do anything else in regards to these fields, go ahead and make those changes.
What about things like strike through or HX or HA fonts?
That will be in the envelope view, and I'll show you that in just a second. So
Mine's not auto-filling like the seller's names from the setting we have to change or anything.
no, if you have their name in command under the opportunity, it should automatically pull it over.
I think it's because you have my agency.
So once you're done with this document, you'll just hit save and close. You'll edit any documents that need to be edited. The document view is mainly for filling out specific documents, like filling out the initial offer, filling out the recap, the buyer's agency, any documents that you need to edit, like that you have received from another agent, where you, like Cheryl said, you need to add a strike through or anything like that, we would do in this envelope view. So right here, this is where you would send and receive forms. So we're going to create a new, they call them envelopes. We're going to create a new envelope that we need to send for signatures. So right here, this is where you would add documents. So I'm going to add them from my room. That way I add the ones that I've edited. If you do need to, let's say, add from like your computer, like you need to add an offer that you need to edit, you would add from, you would just hit more and click upload, and you would add that document there. You click from documents, you just click on envelopes. Alrighty. So I'm going to add my documents that I need to send for signatures. I'm going to add selected, and they're both going to pop up right here. And once again, these are the forms that you've already kind of edited. So then I'm going to add my recipients. And I always recommend adding from the pre-tagged roles. So if you have yourself set in command as the agent, you have your buyer set as the buyer in command, it will automatically pull that information and know that, okay, Sydney is the buyer, I'm the agent, and it will kind of fill her into that role. It'll do the same thing if you have like multiple buyers or sellers.
Can I pre-fill Alice as a listing agent and a buyer's agent?
So since listing and buyers are two separate opportunities, they will be two separate rooms as well. So these will not be the same. So if you have her in command as in one opportunity as the listing agent and then the other opportunity as the buyer's agent, it will automatically pull her in. Okay, so I'm going to select myself as the buyer's agent, and I have one buyer. I'm going to click my name and click Sydney's name. It already pulls her email over because I had it in command. Click add selected. It's gonna pop both of us up right here. I already see these permissions is need to sign. And right here, I have my order in which these documents will be sent. So a cool little trick that me and Luke figured out the other day is, let's say that this is like that FHA addendum that, you know, people need to sign or something. If you have, let's say, you know, everybody that has to sign is set as number 1, and then you have the lender who then has to receive that document once it's fully executed. If you stick that lender at the number 2 slot and you put them as just me the copy, as soon as everyone else has fulfilled the document's needs, so like if they've already signed and it's fully executed, it will then send that executed copy over to the lender. That way you don't have to download it out, put it in another email, send it on. Kind of eliminates a little extra step.
So if it's not signed yet, will it wait?
It will wait until it is signed. Yeah, until everybody who has signed first has signed, it will not send to the lender until it's fully signed. All right, so I have everybody in there. You can also send a little message along with it if you need, you know, please sign the documents, blah, blah, blah. All of that. Great. As soon as I hit next, this is where you can add, you know, anything additional. So now, like this field that I typed Sydney's name in, or this date, these fields are locked because I've already edited them before. So if I scroll down, here are the signature fields that are already flooded in. If I look over here on the left, I see that my color is yellow. Everyone gets assigned a color in DocuSign. So I'm yellow, Sydney is blue, so I can see exactly which fields she needs to sign, which ones I need to sign, keeps it a little bit more organized. Let's say I needed to add, like let's say that this was a contract and I needed to add a new price with a strike through, and I wanted to draw my buyer's attention to that specific field. I would make that change in their color so that it would draw their attention to it when I send them the document. So if we, you know, add a text box and, you know, just type something in. Whatever, you know, you can still add any and everything you need right over here. You can have, you know, some custom fields, any markup tools. You can add a line, which would be your strike through. So you can kind of make that line look however you like for it to look. And then once that document looks the way that you want it to, you would just hit send. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to press send. All right, and something that's cool about DocuSign is the agent's view when signing documents is the exact same as the client's view. So when you're talking them through how to sign, the way that you would sign a listing agreement or a buyer's agency agreement is the exact same way that they would sign that recap or that agency or, you know, initial the contract, something like that. It makes it a little easier explaining. So now I do need to sign the recap in the buyer's agency because there is an agent field for that. So I'm going to click sign. It's going to automatically pull these documents up for me. All right, once I hit continue and start, it is going to take me immediately to my first field that I need to sign. So I'm going to hit sign. It's going to automatically put my signature in there. It does time and date stamp it, all that good stuff. if this were Sydney signing, she would see this edit that I've made over here because I edited it for her to be able to, like, so that it would draw her attention to it when I said it. So it would make her aware that this edit was here, and then it would send her down to this section to sign. So then,
Would you not have to have a place for her initials?
yes, yes, yes. So yeah, you would have added her initials over here as well, which would have also drawn her attention to that change. All right, so then I just hit finish. Everything's good. I've signed that document. It's great. So now when I go back in here, I see that I have signed and it still says that she needs to sign. And once she has signed, this will, you know, it will say that everyone has signed. It will be green and let you know like, let's say you send the document and you're like, oh shoot, like that wasn't the right one. I still needed to make an edit. You can still correct documents as long as your buyer has not opened the document. So you can still change it up to that point. Once they've opened the document, you cannot make changes and you'll have to resend them a new document to sign and just tell them to disregard the previous one. Okay, so that's really kind of everything with, you know, sending, receiving documents. So let's hop back into Command for the compliance portion. So I need to add the RECAD and the buyer's agency into this checklist. You can do that right here by clicking Add File and clicking on DocuSign, and only the forms that are in that specific DocuSign room will pop up. So then I just click on the one that is selected and I'll hit Assign and it will assign it directly to that field. Now, if you're like, ooh, I don't know which one is the executed copy, it will say signed right out here beside it, so you know that this is the signed RECAD that all parties have signed. You can also do a bulk add, so if you needed to add multiple files at one time, you just hit right here on attach multiple files, hit DocuSign, and you can then select those specific forms from a drop-down box and then add them at one time. And you can do the same thing for each one of these forms. So now, obviously, when we get down here to like the close tab where we have our HUD and our commission check, those documents aren't necessarily in DocuSign because you scan into your email. So for here, we would hit Add File and we would just browse our computer files from where we have scanned it to ourselves and downloaded it out of our email. So I'm going to pull up just a random document that is on the screen back here. Let's see. Let's exit out of this. No, let's just exit. There's nothing on here. Okay. And minimize whatever this is. Okay, so I'm just going to add a random PDF that's on here. So if it's on my home screen, I can drag and drop and it will upload. If it's down here in my downloads bar, I can still drag and drop into that field, or I can click the, you know, browse files and it will open up the files that are on my computer.
Can you pull something in there directly from your email? Like you can it all over, you have to add it to the computer.
You should probably be able to drag, like if you have both of them set up together, you should be able to like click and drag from Gmail right on over into here. All right, so once you've added whatever documents you need and everything looks good, you would, of course, submit to MC. And that's where I would check it, make sure everything's right. Any notes, like if this is one of those cases where you know, there was no earnest money on this file, or the earnest money was held like with the builder or something like that, you could write me a little note right in here. That way I would know, and it would, you know, let me know right here that there is a comment that I would need to look at. So you can tell me any type of that information within the file, same as you would in Dotloop with the little messages bar. All right, so once everything is in here, this is also how you get to the commissions tab. I know with teams, there, you know, a lot of teams don't necessarily fill out their own commission or their own green sheet. The admin is normally the one that does that. But I will go over how to do that. So you do have to click on offers. I'm not a fan of this title of this tab. It's not my favorite. You can think of it as just the financials tab, kind of how the details are on the green sheet. So we're just kind of letting me and Liz know what the price is and who's on what side. So we're going to create a new one. You can title it whatever you would like. And it's just kind of going to ask a couple of questions. We're going to mosey on over to parties. When we hop right here, it's wanting to know the buyer and the seller name, same way it does on the green sheet. And it's also wanting to know agents' names. So this section right here, so like even if this was, you know, like Donna Petty or was your, you know, another agent not in our company, you would still type their name in just so we can have that. We don't do anything with it, of course, but it is a required field just so that we know who is on what side. So I'm just gonna type, and then we're gonna go to terms. All right, so this is where you would enter the sales price. You can enter it in either one of these tabs. You cannot edit directly into the sales price. So if it's cash and if it's finance and you stick it in cash, it's not going to matter. If it's cash and you stick it in finance, it's not really going to matter. So if it's 200,000, as long as this is the exact price, that is fine. We'll just add some earnest money. Great. And you don't have to fill out anything else. We mainly just need the price. And then you would hit agent analysis and just hit save.
Is that just something we do when we have a pending listing? When something goes pending?
So yeah, so this would be the same as like making that green sheet. So you would create the offer and do those
Can you go
financials.
back the screen a minute, because I'm going to ask you a question.
So it will make, let me see if I can open this. Yeah, I can edit. Okay.
So it's like the last thing that you do.
Let's see. Yeah, hold on. Let me edit even more. Let's see. Here, I'll just create a new one.
What, that's okay. We can come back to that.
But it's okay, we're right here. So parties. So we have our seller listing. All right.
So you're saying that on your terms, it's always going to show cash, we just put in like the.
Yeah, it does not matter which side you put this in. The price, it does not matter at all. You're just gonna stick it in one. As long as,
it's got the correct amount of your sales price.
yes.
I'm with you.
So then I can get this strange share box to go away. Get agent analysis and save. So once you accept the final offer, so you say, okay, this is for sure the right price, you know, we're for sure closing at this price, we're just going to hit accept on whichever one. And now the commissions tab has opened up. So in here, it's letting me know that I need the contract date. So I'll just edit this information, choose the date. And now it tells me that all the other details are good to go.
I've got splits.
So if you do need to add a split, what you'll do is, so like in Alice's case, it's automatically gonna pull her name into the commission. So let's say I'm gonna edit my payment because it has all of the commission going to me, so I'm gonna edit that. Let's say I'm at a 50-50 split. So this will be 3,000. I'm gonna hit save. It's letting me know that I have a balance that needs to be distributed. So I would just hit add agent, and I can scroll down and I'll stick Alice's name right here. Every agent in our company will pop up, in Tuscaloosa will pop up. Just gonna hit add and save changes. As soon as I add her, it automatically assigns her the remaining amount. If you need to add multiple people, you would just break down that dollar figure.
If you were even a Birmingham agent, you would just.
No, just Tuscaloosa agents will pop up.
So in other words, under agent units, like you manually change that 6,000 to 3,000.
Yeah, so if this was a 50-50 split, I could change the unit to just let me and Liz know that this is a 50-50 split. And it will make this
It should
unit,
automatically calculate, right?
yeah, and it should make this unit add up to one. Let's see, just like the green sheets did.
Like Kathy, how's that?
So if you look right here, you can see that Alice has indeed capped. It shows my information because I'm the one creating the green sheet, the commission, but it does not show another agent's information. So you don't have to know, like if it's, Damon and you guys doing the transaction, you don't have to know whether or not he's capped. The system already knows. So y'all don't have to worry about any of that information. But once it's all done, you just hit submit and everything's good. And if for some reason it changes, you just let Liz and I know and we can return it and you can make whatever edits you need to on it and just resubmit. That's pretty much it for the commissions tab. It is a little easier than green sheets. You don't have to log into my KW or go into .lu, do that whole spiel. It's all right in here together. Now, once you turn in a check, where we used to have that green sheet number on the check, we're now asking for the opportunity ID instead of the green sheet number. And that ID can be found on the details tab, and it's right here. So this is the ID number. You would write this on the check instead of the green sheet number. That way Liz and I can find it quickly. We just type that in. Otherwise we have to search by, the assignee's name or the opportunity owner name or something crazy. This way we can find it just a little bit quicker. If you'll write that on the check, then we can get you paid as quickly as possible. That's really kind of it. Anybody have any kind of questions? No? Well, if anybody does have any questions, you can come see me, give me a call, shoot me a text, or whatnot, and I'll get you figured out. And if you need to set like an appointment, you're just like, oh, I get it, but I don't want to ask questions in class, you can just set an appointment with me and I'll go over it one-on-one. Alrighty. Well, I hope that helps, and we'll see y'all later.
How hard do you have this